What's up, guys? Good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. It's a Friday, weekend ahead. I cannot wait. I have an exam tomorrow morning. Imagine scheduling an exam on a Saturday morning. You really need to be sad. Anyways, Roma are into the round of 16 of the 2025-2026 Europa League. We got the job done. I'm going to speak about the game. I didn't speak about the game yesterday evening because I felt like sleeping. I wanted to wake up early because I wanted to catch the two Australian Open semi-finals today. So I'm just going to delay it tomorrow. There's really not much that I need to say. I think a draw in yesterday's game, despite how the game developed with the red card, with the fact that it was a very dull game to watch, but I ain't going to lie, ever since the preview of this game, I was convinced that this game was going to end on a draw. I mean, the fact yesterday's game felt like a friendly game. Both the fan bases were happy with the draw. We got the job done. Now, again, had we won, we would have probably been in a bit of a better position when looking at that table in the Europa League, which we're going to speak about today. But yeah, the vibe of yesterday's game was a friendly game vibe. From the fans to the game to the general attention that Gasperini dedicated to yesterday's game. I think ever since he spoke in that press conference pre-Panathinaikos, you could tell that he really didn't care about yesterday's game, that he was always going to start a B team. And then, of course, with the red card, I went on tilt for a second because I wasn't convinced that we were going to catch up. In fact, I actually think that we were very lucky yesterday because that goal came out of nowhere. I mean, at a certain stage, I was like, we're never going to score. Like, we already have no strikers. At a certain stage yesterday, Rensch, Tsimikas and De La Rocca were playing up front. I'm like, you're never going to score. You've got an ability to fuck up your own games that will forever remain mind-blowing. We're going to play the playoffs. I mean, you're stupid because you're stupid, but it's not the end of the world. Then, out of nowhere, Ziokowski hit a Robin van Persie style header, and I'm like, yes, I celebrated like mad. Because avoiding the playoffs was big yesterday. Gasperini said and continues to repeat how he wouldn't have minded at all playing 2 extra games because he believes that the growth of the team depends also on playing a lot of games. And he's a firm believer around the statement that this team has become better because it has played more games. And this is exactly what he said post-match. But I disagree. I disagree with him. I think the last thing you want to do, especially if you've made it so clear that the priority this season, at least up to now, was that league title, was the league and not the Europa League. You don't want 2 extra games, one before the Napoli game and one before the Juventus game. So I'm happy it went like this. There is a hypothetical chance that we face Bologna in the round of 16. We're going to speak about the table in a second. I do want to share a few words on the game, even though it was a dull game that doesn't really need a match reaction. I do want to share a few words, 2 alarming things that come out of yesterday's game for me. And in general, looking at the Europa League path, moving forward, we can already start outlining a few things. First of all, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, do all of that good stuff down below. We're into the round of 16, so let's get 116 likes for that on this video. The first thing that I need to say after yesterday's game is that it's part of our DNA. Like, we won't be able to change this. We won't be able to change this because it has marked our football club for the last century. We always do it, no matter the game, no matter where you play. It's always the same problem. I always say it, and people laugh at me as if I'm joking, as if I'm like treating it as a meme. It's not a meme. The ability that this football club has to fuck up its own plans is something embarrassing. And, you know, I posted a reel yesterday on Instagram and so many people were laughing in the comments, you know, golden punticino and everything. We got the job done, but people are aware that if you would have played against any other team yesterday, you would have drawn, you would have lost. You would have lost. Like, and again, No disrespect, Panathinaikos or our brothers. If there are any Panathinaikos fans watching this, or respect. We've got an incredible bond. The ultras have got an incredible bond. But Panathinaikos is not a strong team. Panathinaikos is a team with farmers, made up of farmers. Because any other team yesterday playing 11 against 10 for 80 minutes would have, against the team that we started in that game, would have beaten us 4-0. So I'm like, it's funny, but to not more than a certain extent, because it's a problem. Last year it happened in Bilbao that we fucked it up ourselves. Bilbao did nothing. You just get your gun in these games, you point it on your feet and you go poof. And this is why we struggle moving forward, whether it's the league, whether it's the Coppa Italia, whether it's the Europa League, the Champions League, the Conference League. Like, it's part of our history, and it's a problem because when you need something, you tend to just shoot yourself. And again, I repeat, we were lucky yesterday because, around the 60th minute, there was no part of me that was believing in a draw and therefore in a top 8 position. And this just shows you how easy it is. One detail and everything changes the situation. That's something very important, which again is funny. Yes, it's funny because it's a funny ability that we have, but it's a problem. It's a problem because let's say you would have played yesterday's game against, I don't know, get a team, Midtjylland even, you would have lost. And I'm very convinced that you would have lost. This is because you're not concentrated in these games. And it's always been like this. You tend to underestimate certain games. And whenever you underestimate these games, you always lose. And not that we lost yesterday, but, we could have... Without that red card yesterday, you would have won 3-0. Without that red card yesterday, you would have won comfortably. And we would have probably been 3rd, 4th. And that changes the scenario. Again, we did the job. The important thing was to get in that top 8. Absolutely agree. That's the most important thing. But getting 3rd and getting 8th changes the situation. And now, most probably, you have to play a quarter-final against either Villa or Lyon. Okay? And you're like, well, you have to... I'm a firm believer that if you want to win things, you have to beat everyone. Absolutely. But maybe you could have avoided facing them in a quarterfinal and maybe you could have faced them in a semi-final. This is because you shot yourself on your foot. So you get my point. Like, it's something that needs to be eliminated from our heads. It's not easy because it's part of our DNA. If you've got brown hair, you won't all of a sudden wake up with blonde hair unless you do something serious about it. And it's a problem which at times crucifies us. Mancini's red card yesterday was, first of all, clear as hell. And number 2, it's stupid. Stupid is the word to describe it. Stupid. Number 1, because it's after 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you decide to hug the last man running in front of the goalkeeper. Like, it's stupid. It's a mistake that you make because you don't care about the game. And that's wrong. Because yesterday's game was important. We had to get in that top 8. But we could have won, and we would have won without that red card. We would have won, because in the first 10 minutes, we had like 7 chances. And then, of course, in the last 10, you were lucky to get that draw. And in the last 80 minutes, you were lucky to get that draw, but you would have never won. Golini in goal, I'm not bothered. I'm fine with the fact that Zvilo arrested a game. But again, Golini is not capable of starting football games. I do think he could have done a bit better in that goal. A lot of people blame Ghilardi, and I was rewatching the game this morning, like the highlights, not the full game. If you rewatch the full game, you don't want the good of yourself. But I was rewatching the highlights to just understand that the goal that they scored better, and it's Ghilardi's fault, but it's also Pisilli's fault because that ball that he shoots randomly to Ghilardi is a wasted ball. I think when it comes to their goal, it's a mixed responsibility between Pisilli, who just threw that ball away, pointless, Ghilardi, who heads it back, and Golini, who literally moves his... I think Zvilo would have saved that. That's my point. But again, it's normal. He hasn't played a professional football game, I don't know since when. So it's fine. We got the job done. We were lucky. Shout out to the boys. Shout out to Panathinaikos. We're into that round of 16. The other thing that emerges from yesterday's game is something that I have been saying I've been saying this ever since we signed Malin and Vaz, and people agreed and people disagreed. Of course, everyone thinks whatever they want. If you think that Malin and Vaz are enough, you're wrong. And yesterday's game proves it. Now again, Malin and Vaz weren't on the UEFA list. Absolutely agreed. They would have probably given us a hand. It's still not enough. It's still not enough because you forget that we're a very injury-prone team. And what made people say, oh yeah, Malin and Vaz was enough, was a very good month from Paulo Dybala, which made you completely forget that Dybala is injury prone. And I've always been saying this, you can't get the fitness back in him. It's the cycle. He gets injured, he recovers, he gets back, it takes time, he gets closer to the optimal condition, and he gets injured again. And whether you like this or not, it's scientifically proven. It's scientifically proven. Dybala will be out for the next 2 weeks. It could have been worse. Misses the next 2 games. But, you know, this is a very injury-prone team. And Malin and Vaz are not enough. And if Masada doesn't hurry up, I will say it, you won't get top 4 because your team is not good enough compared to the rest. Maybe, as of today, I think the situation changes day by day. As of today, I think your best challenge is on Napoli, but just because Napoli have got a worse optimal condition, I've got a worse injury position than you. Because if Napoli had a full squad, they would eat you up. But you know, you can't possibly think that the signings that we did are enough. We need other signings. We need at least another signing. You know, somebody says Malin and Vaz are enough, but we can't rely on Dybala, Pellegrini, but mate, that statement is like you get a knife, and instead of cutting it with the proper side, you cut it with the opposite side. You're literally proving the point. You're saying that Malin and Vaz are enough, but at the same time you're saying that you can't rely on Pellegrini, El Shaarawy and Dybala. So you're saying 2 things which are completely different but come to the same conclusion. That's exactly my point. Malin and Vaz are good players, but they're not enough because you gave the justification. Because you can't rely on Dybala, Pellegrini and El Shaarawy. You can't rely on Ferguson. He's injured every 2 days he's on the floor. Dovbyk out for the next 3 months. It's not enough. It's not enough. Dybala will get injured again. Pellegrini... In order for Pellegrini to score a goal, you need Jesus Christ to land on earth. The only one is Soulé. But again, in Soulé in big games, ghost. So I agree with you. Malin and Vaz are good signings, but they're not enough. And you've proved the point. So that statement is completely unnecessary because you're saying a thing and then you're completely backing up with a completely opposite fact. Which is true. I agree. We can't rely on Dybala, El Shaarawy and Pellegrini because they're always injured. You know, if Masada doesn't wake up, I use the word miracle because it remains a miracle. There are better teams. There are better squad depths. There are better... I mean, yesterday's game proves it. You finished yesterday's game with a 17-year-old and with Wrench and Tsimikas basically playing up front. Like, come on. How can we achieve our goals if that is the squad depth that we have? So... You know, we need another sign. We need at least another one signing. At least another one. So yeah, that's that. I think that the biggest alarm that comes out of yesterday's game is exactly this: that the squad depth is still very limited. Yes, Malin and Vaz weren't on the UEFA list, but still, it's not enough. You know. Okay, let's look at the draw. And then I'll read comments in a second. Let's look at the draw. Because technically we don't know who we're going to face in the playoffs and in the quarterfinals. But technically, at the same time, we do know who we're going to face. In the playoffs, we're going to face a team between Bologna, Brann from Norway, Genk from Belgium and Dinamo Zagreb from Croatia. Bologna are in a playoff with Bran, and Genk are in a playoff with Dinamo Zagreb. The question will be, what do I think of an Italian European derby? If I can avoid it, I would avoid it, of course. But you cannot be scared of Bologna in Europe. You cannot be scared. You, who have been consistently playing in Europe, cannot be scared about Bologna in Europe. You can't. You can't. At the same time, it would be very cool to face them because I don't know. I feel like a European derby, in a sense, which isn't a derby, I know, but a European Italian derby would be fun. It would be fun. It would be fun to live. But I agree. I mean, if we can avoid it, I would avoid it, of course, because I think the other three teams are easier than Bologna, without a shadow of doubt. But at the same time, you cannot be scared about Bologna in Europe. It's like Darth Vader being scared of Ron Weasley's sister. Not Darth. What the hell did I just say? Voldemort, not Darth Vader. What the fuck? It's like Lordemort being scared of Ron Weasley's sister. Okay? You can't. You can't. They're a good team, but you can't. And in Europe, the background is different. Then is where the problem is. Because let's say you do go through, which you have to go through. Nothing is certain with Roma, especially after having rambled on about 15 minutes about how we shoot our own feet. But if we do move forward into the quarterfinal, there would be a very, very, very high chance that we face either Villa or Lyon. The other two teams that we could face are, I believe, Lille, Red Star Belgrade. But there is a very high chance that a quarterfinal will be against Villa or Lyon. And that's where the problem lays. Because I think football is football. Absolutely. Look at what happened in the Benfica game 2 days ago. Unreal. Like, football is beautiful because there's always this sense of unpredictability. But as of today, there is no part of me that would bet a single penny on you in favor of you against Aston Villa. I wouldn't because the last 20 minutes of yesterday's game, I was watching the program which showed every single game, like a bit of every single game. And Villa were 2-0 down to Salzburg at home. In 20 minutes, they won 3-2. And that's exactly where the difference lays between you and them. You don't have the ability to do that. You don't have the players to do that. Look, football is football. Like, absolutely, anything can happen. We know it ourselves. And we will be there for the ride. But Villa would be very, very, very tough. As I said, I stick with what I said a few days ago. I would much rather face Villa before than in a hypothetical final. Because if you don't get them in the quarterfinal, then you can only get them in a final. I don't want a final with Villa. I'm saying this now. I don't give a shit. I will not accept a final against Villa. My mental health is not ready for that. So I really, 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 really want... If we need to face Villa, I'd rather face them before. But I mean, Lyon, I think Lyon is tough. Lyon is very tough. They got first in this Europa League. So Lyon deserve respect, but Villa are better than Lyon. And I think with Lyon, I would pick you as favorites. I would. I still would. I mean, call me crazy. Look, call me crazy. People would say that Lyon are much better than us. I don't think so. I think with Lyon, you're the favorites. It would be tough. I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park. No, it'd be tough. Like, it'd be very close. Also because the second leg in the quarterfinal, if it's Villa or Lyon, would be away from home because both of them got ahead of you. So it will inevitably be tough. But with Lyon, I can see you go through. With Villa, But we'll see. We'll be there for the ride. We need to hope that somebody knocks Villa out for us, or that we have the balls to knock them out. big boy mentality. But if somebody can knock Villa out for us, then it'd be good. It'd be very good. I'd give them a big round of applause. But one step at a time. I mean, now we have a month where we only have one game per week, which I think is very good, also to recover from the injuries. Then in March, the Europa League kickstart again, and we'll see whether we will face Bologna, whether we'll face Bran, whether we will face Genk, or whether we will face... Who's the fourth? Dinamo Zagreb. Simo, did you see Benfica versus Madrid? I did. It was a crazy game. The Mourinho magic. And I believe they got Real Madrid again, right? The first time was so nice, I had to do it twice. I think we can go all the way if we don't do a dumb mistake against Lyon or Villa. Thoughts on Nkunku? I've adopted a new policy, mate. I will not speak about transfers until the Here We Goes. That's my new Roma Theory policy, because I am growing up, and if you're young watching this, enjoy it, because I had my time enjoying the transfer window, refreshing Google when I was young. Now that I'm growing up, I honestly could not give a shit about the transfer window. I hate speaking about the transfer window. Whatever happens, happens, and we'll be here to react to it. So this is my new policy on the channel. I will not speak transfer news unless the Here We Goes, where we will analyze the signing. Hello from across the Adriatic, my friend. Forza Roma from one lonely Romanista. So close, but yet so far away. Hello, mate. Shout out to you for watching us all the way from where? Croatia? Credit for the lads, stronger than any adversity that was against us yesterday. Injuries, youngsters playing down to 10 men for most of the game, but we did it, says Giulio. We just don't have the funds for good enough reinforcements. We need to be lucky that everyone is healthy at the right time. Vittoria del Vecchio, dai siamo saluti da Londra. Saluti a voi. As of now, it's not an attack, but in those spots behind the attack, basically we agree. Maybe it's the language barrier. I think our transfer window is done. Massara is the slowest man on earth. Well, if our transfer window is done, and I'm not Massara, as I just said, I've stopped paying attention at the transfer window ever since this summer. I feel like if there's something about us, I would read about it. But the only thing that I can say, if that is true, if our transfer window is true, I'm sorry, guys. Today I'm saying absolutely diabolical things. I've spent 6 hours watching that Sinner Novak game this morning, and it has completely drained me. I'm still shocked at how Novak Djokovic has beat Yannick Sinner. It's crazy. Like, of course I was rooting for my boy, but Novak is something unreal. Unreal. Oh my God, he's unreal. I said this on the fan forum. If Novak goes on and beat Alcaraz, which he won't, because Alcaraz will win on Sunday. If Novak beats Carlos on Sunday, for me, he becomes the greatest athlete of all time. In the history of humanity. But that game has drained me. It has drained me. It has completely shocked me. I thought he was going to win against him 3-0. What I was saying is, if our transfer window is done, we're not going to get top 4, and you're not going to win the Europa League. Really, like, you're not. You're not. Because we've overachieved, and this concept of overachievement cannot be forgotten. We are overachieving, and we will not be able to overachieve if we don't add, if we don't give this man some new players. Like, it's impossible. It's genuinely impossible. Only Villa is our rival in the Europa League if we play at our best. In fact, if other best, not even them, I'll die on this hill. I love the positivity. I'm not sure if I agree. I think even at your best, especially if you don't add new players, I think Villa would cook you. But again, I love the positivity. We need to remain positive. Aston Villa and Lyon will probably cross paths with Celta Vigo and Lille in the round of 16. If we reach the final, I expect the Curva Sud to raise huge tifo with picture of the handball against Seville. Are we going to get Sulemana? We have the best defense, so I think if we score first, we will win. I'm from Greece. I did a trip since I live in an island and saw the Roma match from the stadium for the first time. However, we didn't play well, but it was an amazing experience. Glad you liked it, mate. I really wanted to go. But look, I promise that moving forward in Europe, more away games. More away games. Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe I'll try and do them all. How about that? I'll try and do them all. That's my challenge. I won't promise on that, but I will try my best to do them all from now until the end. Maybe not all, but a few. If we have Bologna in the playoffs, then that's a good one. And it will be fun. It'd be fun to do an Italian but European one. I think Lyon is better than Villa. Their offense and midfield is good, especially with Endrick. It's crazy how we're linked to so many players, and Massara is incapable of closing any deal. We're Roma, we must fear no one, and we must stay grounded. Rome was not built in a day, but it also was caput mundi, so let other teams calculate. We must play for a win in every game. Okay, guys, I think we went through it all today. Tomorrow, we're playing on a Monday this weekend. Monday night football in Udine against Udinese. Always a very tricky game in Udine. We'll speak about it tomorrow. Lazio Genoa tonight. Hopefully De Rossi can do a little trick or treat to them. Apparently they have an empty stadium tonight. They're protesting against Lotito, so there's like an empty Olimpico tonight. Not that it's full whenever they want to go, but you get the point. It's going to be quite empty tonight. Yeah, but big weekend ahead. AO final on Sunday. Unfortunately, without Yannick. God. But I think Carlos will win. I cannot see Djokovic winning after having played, 5 hours today. I cannot see it. I think Carlos will win. But yeah, hit that like button. 116 likes for our qualification in the round of 16 would be great. Forza Roma sempre. We move in Europe and in the league. Speak to you soon. Simo out.